Hi, Rachel. I see you've got a variety of ideas here for what would be, I think, your shampoo bottle. Looking at your work for assignment 3, I'm trying to guess what harmonies you're employing. Maybe in bottom, there are a couple of varieties of analogous colors, and top right, maybe that's complementary. I'm not really sure what you're shooting for. Remember, it's not just a matter that you should assemble any colors, but instead colors that fit into 4 different distinct harmonies, such as the ones that are covered in the online lectures this week. Courtney, you've got a bunch of energetic ideas there from assignment 2. And when I saw the one you chose, I thought, there might have been a couple that I liked better. But I like what's going on with the arrangement of colors. For instance, monochromatic is pretty dramatic, especially when it's seen next to the others. I noticed in triad just sort of snuck in that orange, using it as a border, which is fine. So I think your color harmonies are all okay. Now the task is to work the design further to the point where it's something new that can stand on its own as a 70-point project, right? That's going to be worth about twice what our other projects are usually worth. Well, Ellie, I can see that you took that blue ring octopus idea and went to town. This is a lovely set of works for assignment 3. And another thing I'll say is I like the way the design has grown out of what you had in assignment 2, and you'll want to continue pushing the design, toward week 6, assignment 1, where you'll need something that's, a separate design. Can't just be 1/4 of what you've got in assignment 3 this week, of course. So, the one problem I see here is with triad. If you're using a yellow, green, and a magenta, and then a cyan, it seems like your steps cannot be 8 apart. There ought to be color wheels here with pointers showing us what colors you're employing in your different harmonies. When I take a look at split complementary, I'm guessing you're using the colors on either side of red along with cyan. Well, hi Ben. I've looked at this assignment 3 set before, so you got all my comments on the colors there. That's a pretty good job on the whole. Just a couple of small things. Go back to the assignment discussion and look what I said there. I enjoy your work with assignment 2, the gusto with which you just went about making a few designs now. Remember, for week 6 assignment 1, you want to have a design that's incorporating what you've used for assignment 3 here, most likely, although some people do go back to a different thumbnail. But take it further. It's got to be something that should be a portfolio piece, and it's got to be distinct and advanced beyond what you have here in assignment 3, week 5. Well, Vita, here in your thumbnails, you're taking a classic approach. I've seen, sets of thumbnails for assignment 2, similar to this in the past, but one thing I noticed that each thumbnail is very different, showing your personal flair for design and a variety of ideas. Golly, I would have a hard time choosing one of these. The only little thing I'd say is maybe don't do the one with stars. Because the stars are sort of like a cookie cutter shape. Comes ready made. I prefer a more anonymous kind of shape or one of your own devising. Well, hi Justin. If I remember correctly, you were having some serious computer problems, but it looks like you've overcome those. With your assignment 3 here, you leave us guessing without any color wheels or pointers. I think bottom left has got to be monochrome, and then top right is going to be analogous. Then what do we have? Maybe complementary in bottom right, and maybe split complements in top left, but I'm not sure. It looks like you might have 4 colors there, and you want to have only 3. That is 3 hues in a split complementary composition. Hi Cody, this array of assignment 2 thumbnails is quite lovely. I'm going to be looking in your assignment there soon to see what you have to say about the method that you used for creation of these, because they really are quite beautiful. Now, I believe I reviewed the assignment 3 already, And the only little problem I had was that I couldn't find the yellow orange in the split complements one. Well, hey, Caitlin, I think you're getting at your goal of looking at whether the color of something helps us decide whether it might be appetizing. And while, this is a liquid and it's in a container that's not a drinking glass, um, it is a food container it's in, and my gut reaction is, what is that? What is that food and what is that color and yeah, could it be consumed? So there are a couple of things here. You're dealing with split complements and analogous, and technically the assignment is asking you to deal with 4 different varieties of color harmonies rather than just 2. But you've taken 2 and you're giving us 3 different color arrangements for each. So um, don't know where you got this color wheel from, but I want to point out that it is a traditional color wheel and not a digital one. And here we're making art in the digital realm. You're working with digital color that will be maybe printed out, but is certainly being seen, as direct light, RGB or additive color mixing. So technically we should have um, red and cyan across from one another, for example. Now, to get at the nitty-gritty of split complements, take a color, find its complement. Don't use the complement. Instead, use the 2 colors on either side of the complement. Well, hey, Eric, I think you've chosen the best thumbnail from assignment 2 to move forward with here. And isn't it amazing to regard how different this design can look with different color harmonies or different colors used with it? So, I think triad's good and monochromatic's good. Looking at split complements, well, you are pointing to magenta, violet, and a red magenta, but I think you're showing us a straight red in this design. Try using the color picker from the color wheel first and then apply the color to your design so you can be exacting. And I don't know if I said this before, but make sure for Assignment 1 of week 6, your color wheel is outside your composition. You don't want your color wheel to cover a portion of your composition. It should be sort of like a compass off to the side. If you were to frame the work, you'd probably exclude the color wheel in the portfolio. Having the color wheels there can give you a talking point, for an interview or discussion with a client. Now, let's see, with tetrad, your steps should be 8 apart. Well, hey, Bob, looking at your thumbnails for assignment 2, I'd say you've probably chosen the best one there. I think in some of these, the text usage looks kind of elementary or a little stiff, you know. Um, so let's see. Looking at what you've done in assignment 3, I'm wondering with your complementary one, what's going on? Are those colors superimposed over the text? And is that beneficial for reading the text? Because I think the text might be a little hard to read even, without that sort of effect. Now, I'm going to say to you the same thing that I was saying to Caitlin. The color wheel you're working with is not the digital one, and it ought to be because we're working in the digital realm where red's complement is cyan. Didn't I give you a color wheel? Okay, well, I can see why you would want to use red and green as your complements for an Italian theme. And then the matter is to be exacting about the harmonies. With a triad, you want the colors to be equal steps apart. And with split complements, you take a color and its complement. And those 2 colors directly opposite on the color wheel. So say you choose orange on the traditional pink color wheel, its opposite is blue. Then you take the colors on either side of blue. And so there's a bit of a science to this that I want you and your classmates to follow.